Barber here today, founder and formulator of Crucial 4, and I'm excited to share with you guys about our ozone machine and how to install it. Now, in a previous video and a write-up, we went over the types of different tanks that you can get. Obviously, I suggest going with the industrial tank. If you buy the accessory bundle, you're going to receive the regulator for that tank. You're also going to receive some accessories and some training. But for this video, we're just going to talk about how to get the oxygen tank installed into the ozone machine so that you can start making ozone. And as soon as you get that done, as soon as you get done watching this video, there's an instruction here on how to make an ozone water, and you can go straight to that today. So let's get started. So one of the first things we want to identify is our parts, right? So we have our oxygen tank, we have our oxygen regulator, and these are 540 industrial tank and a 540 regulator. Okay, it's going to be different if you have a medical oxygen tank, and again, that's in the write-up on how to do all that. I'm not going to show that video because I don't have that tank and I don't have that regulator. But if you do choose to go that route, you can look at our write-up and I'll explain exactly how to install it. It's simple. It's almost identical to this, it just installs differently on this unit. So just to go over how I installed this, if you look at the manual that we gave you guys, there's a little wrench. You basically hand tighten this, and then you take a wrench and you just do a couple quarter turns. And the way that you know if it's tight or if it's not, if it's loose, is you'll just simply turn it on. So you can see I just turned that knob, you don't hear anything. So if it was loose, you'd hear a because it'd be leaking out oxygen, and that's perfectly safe and fine. It's just oxygen, okay? And what you would do is you would close that up. You'd get that a little bit tighter. Maybe you've cross-threaded that, undo it. You'd get it on there nice and snug. It should be easy to do with your hand to a point, and then again, you just want to crank it a few quarter turns with a wrench, and that's installed. Now, again, we're gonna identify all of our parts here. So let's do this again. Ozone machine, oxygen tank, oxygen regulator. Oxygen regulator is installed. I just explained how to do that. Now when you receive your machine, you're gonna receive some hoses. You're gonna receive this kind of opaque silicone hose. This is what we would call, a white hose, if you would. But this is not clear, right? It's kind of like opaque, I guess is the word that's coming out to my mind right now. But it's obviously not as clear as this hose. This would be like a clear hose, okay? Now, this hose we're gonna use to connect our oxygen tank to and straight to our ozone machine. And this hose we're gonna use to connect to our ozone out once we've already installed this other hose. So let's get to that. So the way we're gonna do this is you're gonna notice that these hoses come with what's called a lure lock. Okay, I don't know if the camera can get that or not, I hope it does. But if not, it's okay, you'll know. You'll see the little plastic part. And when I designed this machine, I wanted medical grade fittings on it. And that's exactly what we did here. That's exactly what this lure lock is. It just makes it extremely easy to connect your hoses, especially on your ozone out when you start doing all the different applying the different accessories, the different hoses, you're switching things in and out. It's a simple breeze. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna install this hose to our oxygen tank. Now, when you're installing your hose to the oxygen regulator, you don't need a lure lock. It's just got this little nipple here, okay? And all you're gonna do is you're just gonna slide that on. And it takes a little wiggle. Now mine went in really easy because I've already had it installed. But when you get these hoses, they're all brand new. Everything's brand new, so you might have to wiggle it on there. But you can see on the picture too that we have on the write-up on how to install it, you can really see how far I went up that bar, right? Again, as long as it's not leaking, you're fine. But you just kind of go up and get it up there as tight as you can, and just look at that picture on the write-up if you're unclear. The key is to not be too neurotic about things. I know it's important that it's installed right, but as long as it's not leaking, you're good to go. Now, second step that you're gonna do is you're gonna take this other end, it's got the lure lock, and it's literally gonna screw on like a screw. You're gonna do a clockwise turn. So you're just gonna push it on and do a clockwise turn, and you'll feel it kind of tighten, and that's it. It's about a half to a quarter turn, and that's it. Okay, you have now installed your oxygen tank to your ozone machine. It's that simple. Now the next thing we're going to do, which I actually forgot to mention this, is we're gonna power the machine. A lot of these steps go without saying, and I know a lot of you are gonna be like, okay, next, but obviously you want to plug in your machine, and this is gonna come with your machine as well. And the way that's gonna work is on the side of the machine right here, there's a plug-in. All these machines are made in the USA, okay? They're assembled in the USA. So it's made and assembled, right? So this is American ingenuity, how we did this box. I wanted to create something that was smaller than what's on the market, but also something that you could travel with. You know, a lot of times we'll have family members, people in our community, friends that might need ozone. And I wanted you guys to be able to take your ozone machine to them and show them, or make ozone for them, and so that they can have that. Because to me, this is one of the most powerful healing tools that we could have in our treasure chest, or tools of healing in our treasure chest, healing treasure chest. This is the most powerful in the world, hands down. I'm not gonna go into the benefits of all that. That's in other videos. You guys know that, or else you wouldn't be here now, right? So we're simply going to plug that in. I'm gonna plug it in right here. Excuse me, I'm gonna come out of the frame. So that's plugged in. And now my next step, now you're installed right now. You're installed, like everything's installed. But my next step is, what therapy am I gonna do? Yeah, that's the question you gotta ask yourself. If I'm gonna make an ozone water, then basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this opaque hose, right? And I'm gonna lure lock, same connection, goes on, twist, just like that. And then on the end of this is gonna be your air stone. And I'm gonna do a little, I'll snap a clip in on this video showing the air stone so I can get a picture of it. And that's gonna fit on just like it fits on here. And then you're gonna follow the instructions, because the instructions are important to follow. Because one thing with your ozone machine that you need to realize is that depending upon the regulator settings, which is also known as liters per minute, and your variable output, this is all gonna determine your strength of ozone. And that chart is right here, printed out right here for you guys. So when you're making the water, you're gonna have a different setting than if you did a rectal insufflation, or you did a vaginal insufflation, or you did an ear insufflation, and so on. And all of that's gonna be in the manual, and instead of doing videos over each one, which I probably will end up doing, you can use that manual as your guide, is your not your Bible per se, but in a way it's just like your encyclopedia. It's a better way to put it. It's like gonna be your encyclopedia, a resource that you have that you can come back to. You're not gonna remember all the settings. I mean, eventually you will, but in the beginning you won't. Now, the next step is how to turn the machine on. It doesn't matter what therapy you're doing, what accessories you're gonna connect to. You're gonna turn the machine on and off the same way every time. I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So the first thing we're going to do, step one, is we're gonna actually turn on our oxygen tank. Okay, it's the first thing we're gonna do. And the way we do that is we counterclockwise this hose, this nozzle here. And once that's open, like so, then we're gonna take our regulator setting. And this is where things start to shift as far as what are we going to do? What accessory are we hooking up to our machine, or what therapy are we gonna do? And so if I'm gonna do an ozone water, you typically set it to what's called a 1/8 setting on your regulator. So I click that one. First one is 1/32. The second one is 1/16. and the next one is 1/8. And again, that chart is right here. It'll say 132, 1/16, 1/8, and so on. And then I'm going to once I've turned on my oxygen, and then I've turned on my regulator, now I've got oxygen flowing through the machine. Even if I came over here, if I turn this up really high, I could feel oxygen coming out of this hose. But guys, remember, the machine's not on. So this system is passing oxygen through it right now, but it's not making ozone. And that's important because we want oxygen flowing through the machine before we turn it on. Now all we're gonna do, now that we have oxygen flowing through the machine, is we're actually gonna turn the machine on. And that's it, guys. It's that simple. Once your machine's on, depending upon the therapy you're gonna do, that goes into the next steps. But I wanna talk about how to hook your machine up today and how to turn it on, okay? Now, the next step is, how do you turn it off? Well, you're gonna turn it off the opposite of how you turned it on. Because like I said, you're gonna want oxygen flowing through it. So, I've filled up my bag, I've made my water, I'm done with my therapy, I'm done with my machine. I'm gonna now turn my machine off. So the way I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna hit off on the machine, then I'm gonna go to my regulator and go to 0, and then I'm gonna go to my oxygen tank and I'm gonna turn it off. And guys, that's it. It's that simple. You have now been educated and learned how to hook up your oxygen and ozone, turn on your machine properly, and turn off your machine properly. And it's real important that you do it this way. Sometimes you'll forget, won't be a big deal. Just try to remember to do it that way. There's been many times I've done it backwards. Doesn't mess anything up. It's not gonna damage the machine. The machines have a lifetime transferable warranty. So if anything happens to the machine, we're not worried about it so much. We know we can take care of it because we know the internal parts are solid. And we have machines that have been around since like 1985 with similar technology. Even though the cold quartz technology is a newer technology, the cells and the power sources and transformers and all that is the same. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, you can obviously reach out to us and ask us. I know there'll be a couple nuances here and there, but this is how to hook up your machine and how to turn it on properly and turn it off. Thanks for watching.